It's incredible. I can't believe that this is already the last video of my mini-series about making cards with one and the same wet-in-wet stenciling technique. And I can't believe it because I have so many more ideas in my head which I definitely want to try out in the future. And that shows that often one idea leads to another idea, and then we end up with approximately 400 cards or so. But that is the beauty of crafting in general and junk journaling / card making in specific. I think that was not English, but hopefully you got me. So, hi, this is Luisa Heinzel, and today I want to tint my texture pastes I want to use for today's cards with some Distress Ink re-inkers, because I realized that we did this whole thing the whole time with the naked pastes, and then we spritzed some or sprinkled some mediums on top, which were the spray stains or oxide sprays, or like I have shown you in the last video, the Lindisfarne Magicals, which I got from Nuneka and which I tested in the, or not tested, I used them in the last video for the first time ever in my life. And there we used the pastes like they came from the jars, and then we added the mediums on top. But when I thought about this last video of this series, I thought, why don't we try to take the paste and then tint the paste first before we put that to the card. I'm just trying to decide which color I want. So this was Bundled Sage, and I don't have so many re-inkers from the Distress Inks, so I'm a little bit limited with my color palette today. But at the same time, I want to take some risks or so. So let's perhaps take Wild Honey as another color here. So this is the texture paste Opaque by Ranger and Tim Holtz. Please excuse this weird tear here. You have seen my daydream in the last video when this happened. Oh my goodness, I'm still a little bit confused about that. If you want to know what happened there, watch the last video. I think you will not regret it, and you will have a good laugh if you watch that video. So let's take the Wild Honey here. I also want to take this color here because of the name, Wild Honey, because this always reminds me to my friend Honey at Honey Loves Paper. Honey, if you are watching this by coincidence, I send you a really, really big hug. She is, she's one of those friends who you don't see so often, but, there's a really strong connection even if you don't see each other every single day. I mean, for your information, we live really far away from each other, and we came in contact through junk journaling. And that is a really wonderful thing. I'm really appreciative that, my goodness, my phone, I'm so sorry. Someone is calling me, I'm so sorry. I'm really appreciative that she's in my life. And I wouldn't have been surprised if she would have called me right in this moment, but it wasn't she. So, yeah, then we have this. This looks wild, doesn't it? But what we are going to do is we are going to choose a stencil. I have already chosen some where I thought that could probably be good. Let's start with this one here. This has the number THS 157. All of the stencils I'm going to use today are by Stampers Anonymous and Tim Holtz. And I want to go with, a similar strategy like last time, making a whole sheet first with the stenciling, and then later on I want to cut that into pieces, but different than we did it the last time. I'm wondering if I can now... Oh, will this dry like sludge or will it dry like this? We will see. THS 166 is the number of this stencil. And I will then add more here with another stencil. I have this one here. I'm really curious how this will come out. THS 036. So let's just take the rest here, even if we can't cover this completely. So here we now have something which we haven't done before, meaning tinting the paste. And what we also haven't done before is a combination of an opaque medium and a translucent medium. So I thought, what will happen if I have this here now from the opaque paste, and what will then happen if I add the translucent texture paste over this? If you don't have the texture paste opaque and translucent, you could also take, I guess, the grit paste opaque and grit paste translucent, or even try crackle paste translucent and opaque. Yeah, I will do something with these later as well, because I want to test everything here today, all of the different, yeah, you know, these pastes have different features, do you know what I mean? And I want to know everything here today. So, but the steps and what I'm doing here, it would be the same for all of the pastes, yeah? So perhaps you want to try that. So what do we need to do? First, we need to take this off, and since this paste is translucent, it should be possible to take this now again. Because remember, when we did the other things, we always had in mind that the first stencil we used for the first stenciling has a really solid and big pattern. The open spaces of these stencils are more, yeah, than the closed spaces, if that is a word. So the coverage of the paper is really much because of the design of the stencil. And for the second stenciling, we have then, in the other videos, chosen something where it's the opposite. So for example, a delicate flower stencil, yeah, where you then have also more delicate details, but also less open spaces, so that we don't cover this here up with the second stencil. But I'm thinking, shall we do it this regular? Yeah, we will try it. Since this is opaque, is it possible to now put this over here? Because then this is translucent and we can see through it. And second question, if I take this and tint this as well, then it will stay translucent. Yes, why shouldn't it stay translucent? Because I mean the refillers are translucent. That should work. Let's try iced spruce, but let's first take a little bit of the paste just as it is, throw that on here so that we can compare that on the sheet later as well. So let's take a drop of iced spruce, and then let's take this, and here I will now take the whole pattern of the stencil and cover everything up so that we can see how we like it, or if we like it, when it's completely covered and the pattern of the second stencil is completely on here, like so. Oh, that looks already really cool. If this dries like I expect it to dry, then that will become a masterpiece. So then What shall we do here? We could try a grit paste on here. This is now the grit paste translucent. Let's go really dark. Let's take Scotch Timber. I love this stencil so much. We have this here where I have only this little portion. Let's use this again here and let's place it so that we have a little bit of the, approximately half of the stenciling on the other paste and the rest here on the white area of the paper. So then on this next sheet, let's take the crackle paste opaque first, but this time without tinting it in this stage, but afterwards. This stencil has the number THS080. And I want to combine it with this one here, which is THS022. Let's then also, I know this is really wild, let's also add a bit of this pattern, THS078. That looks really interesting, I think. So then, what we also learned in the last video is that this wet and wet technique with adding wet mediums like sprays or water works better with pastes like, for example, the normal texture paste, this one here. So with this paste, there's no problem with adding sprays or water. But with the crackle paste, we made the experience that the crackling is, a little bit different, or sometimes it doesn't crackle so nicely when we add water or spray now. So that's the reason why I want to let this dry and then add the mediums and then the next stenciling. So it's a little bit later and this is dry and it has crackled. Probably you can't see that so well in the camera because everything is white, but we will change that now. I want to take the magical shakers here again, which I got from Nuneka. Nuneka, thank you very much again for these. And if you have seen my last video, you know that I have tried these for the first time in my life during my last video. If you have missed that, check that out. So I want to take Vintage Caravan Caramel and bring the house brown, because I'm assuming that I want to have something neutral here, which was this other neutral color. Was it this Gypsy Soul Slate? I think that this one was this cool gray. I'm not so sure. Or was it this? Wait, I'm not so sure. Let's try this first. If this is not what I remember or what I'm thinking it is, then we can change it. Okay, this is not the color. I'm sorry, this is not the color. This is too blue for what I want to do. I mean, this is a great color, but it's not the one I was looking for. I definitely need to swatch these. Please excuse that this is so unprofessional. Flickering fairy lights. No, that was this lighter color. Which one was this cool gray? Is it this one? Busty Dreamcatcher Gray. Did I say the right name? Yeah, Busty Dreamcatcher Gray. I'm so sorry. I'm not familiar to these names yet. But what I want to have is something. Yeah, this is the color I was searching for, because I think this comes a little bit too close to bundled sage, which we've used on the other piece. I will take my paintbrush and go over it like so that the colors don't get mixed up completely, but that I get coverage over the whole thing. But I want to blend the colors also a little bit to get it like a little bit neutral, and I'm assuming that this is way too colorful. I want more brown, but let's see. Perhaps I just need to mix it up a little more. As I said, I don't have experience with these powders yet, except what I have experienced in the last video, so this is pretty new to me. Can happen that I will change my mind in a second. Or the original plan. Yeah, I was more looking for this, but we will see. I think I'm not able to mix this up now because this is just amazing. I mean, look. Ah, this is a catastrophe for my brain because it looks so cool, but it's not what I was looking for, and now I'm afraid to ruin this by my own idea or by following my original idea. And I think I will try to get some neutral areas somehow. And then perhaps we can take this as it is or so. We will see. I mean, what? This is so freaking crazy. I can't believe what I see here. Where is my brown now? Which I wanted to have here. Did I a second ago say this one color from the Magicals is matching bundled sage? I mean, where is that here now? I definitely need to learn more about those little shaker thingies, and I need to change my plans here a little bit, but that doesn't matter. What I want to do next is I want to try to stencil over this with the crackle paste translucent, with the same idea behind. On the other sheet we've used the opaque paste first and then the translucent paste, and I want to do that here as well and see what happens. The question is, shall we tint this paste as well? I have absolutely no idea what will happen if I would take this now and put this over here. Will the medium then be reactivated? Are these... Well, we can test that. Let's take a little bit of water. And let's see, because I don't know that. It obviously gets reactivated when it gets in touch with water. So that means what we are going to do is we're going to take this stencil, THS031. We choose one section where we take the pure paste and stencil through this so that we can see if the paste gets tinted by the Magicals, if that gets reactivated by the paste. Let's leave this portion as it is because I'm totally in love with that. And let's here think about a second round of stenciling, but with tinting the crackle paste. Which color would make sense? Shall we try Uncharted Mariner? Because these here, these areas, I will try it. It's pretty close, I would say, but I don't want to risk to ruin this. Because of that, I will add a little bit of iced spruce. I think that was a good idea. Since we have this area left, I have the black opaque texture paste here. And I thought this stencil here could be a great idea. It's THS 012. I will try to get some of that into these little areas here. Looks a little bit weird now, but I want to tear this into pieces later so that I can now already decide about, you know, some more portions here, because here was nothing yet. And so here we can use this little area, because this one here will then still be clean, you know, without anything for but when I see this now, oh my goodness, can you imagine this portion here on a card like it is, but how can I include the black? Because look, oh my goodness, that was now not the plan, but let's see if we can carefully get a bit of this contrast to this beautiful area there as well, so that we then can use that exactly as it is. Oh, oh. Okay. It's again a bit later. This is nearly completely dry. Here we can see some of these milky areas where it's not 100% dry, but I can already touch it, and I think we can already go on. This is not completely dry yet, but I can already tell that this will turn out really, really cool, especially here where the translucent crackle paste went over the magicals. Can you see how intense these little things here will get? We can already see that here. Where the paste is, these little sprinkles are really, really intense, and I'm assuming that this will turn out like, you know, masterpiece-ish. This is not dry at all. Really, you know, we can't really tell what this will become, but we will put this aside and let it dry completely, and we will then first go on with this sheet, because I've decided that I want to change my plan a little bit. First, I thought I want to mix this with this on the card. The cards we will assemble now, but I can see that I don't like the combination. I mean, this would work somehow. I mean, yeah, that could be something where we could say, okay, this is nice with this, but here, look, it's not really working, because this is like pastel-ish and this is really bam, and that doesn't work for me together. So I have changed my mind, even if here are some pieces which would work with this, but I want to go the safe way, because I love both of these so much. So I decided to do it a little differently than I originally thought. But that's not really a problem, because, you know, we are flexible. So what I have here is my black suit folder here from my ephemera shelf, and I want to see if I have pieces of dark paper here which I can use to combine with these colors. And then we need something to glue that on. So here we go. I just went to my don't call it junk drawer in my cabinet, and I've taken these. These are just some packages from some ideology items. So this is now approximately 3 1/4 wide. Yeah, that is good. So here we go. We have these here now. I want to cut this out first, because my plan is I want to take this now, and as you can see, we obviously have a straight edge here and a straight edge here, so we can tear this. Take glue, and I will now really try to somehow fool my perfectionism, and don't put that whole thing to the base here, but I will immediately glue it down when I see that I like it. So that means I hold this here without glue, glue this underneath, because I want this white edge on the top of this darker thing. And then I will take this, since I know that this is in the correct position, and I will then glue this on here so that this cool pattern is really in the foreground.
Glue and scissors again, but nothing ever goes as planned. Spilled coffee on my vintage lace. Oxide spray got to my face. Cat knocked over my washi tower. I've been crafting for 12 straight hours. I wanna freak my freak right now. Junk journal madness, holy cow. Tearing paper, making mess. Created chaos, I confess. I wanna freak my freak right now. Junk journal madness, holy cow. Icky fingers, ephemera's dance. Pages filled with happenstance. Gesso on my favorite jeans. Embracing imperfection by any means. You get what you get and you don't throw a fit. Is this just the ugly stage or am I happy with it? I wanna freak my freak right now. Junk journal madness, holy cow. Tearing paper, making mess. Created chaos, I confess. I wanna freak my freak right now. Junk journal madness, holy cow. Inky fingers, ephemera.
This could also function as a really cool belly band or a pocket in a junk journal. So then, what about this and this light background? Well, perhaps when it's torn, it isn't so bad. This is a little bit too rough for my taste. The pattern, I mean. This could work. And what I also want to try is, what would happen if we wait, how do I need to do this now? Let's first glue these pieces on, like we did it on the other card. And then let's take this, glue that on here, and since this background here is so light, I think it's not such a good idea to combine these, because this, I want to try to let that stand by itself, because this would be, for my taste, a little bit too much contrast. This is too bright, too orange, too wild honey. Do you know what I mean? So let's take this and let's try to put this on here like it was before we have torn it. And then I look under here where the black starts. I try to tear in here, but I make sure that the black still covers, will still cover this slot I will get here now. So that means I have a piece here like so, and I'm sure that when I take this now and put this on here and take this away, that this black piece is covered up. Otherwise I would have a problem, yeah, because then I would see the package. So then how to manage that now? When I have that, I want to have this here like it wasn't torn. Hold this and do the same thing here, where the other black paper is in the background. Like so. And this white edge is now a little bit too much for my taste, so I will make that a little bit smaller. So I hold this here again. I will then tear it here, also making sure that this, what I tear off, will cover this. And then we're going to take this, put glue on here. I hold this in place so that I get the right distance to this piece, because what I'm trying to do is I want to glue this on here in exactly the position it needs to be to make the pattern complete. And this little piece what I have here is just like, how do you say that in English, like a placeholder or so that I have the right distance in between here. Because if I would glue this, you know, in a weird distance, then the pattern makes no sense anymore.
Steps, pages filled with happenstance. Dear diary, today I accidentally glued my journal shut. Mistook my coffee for paint, water sneezed while using glitter. Now I'm a disco ball and realize I've been spelling ephemera wrong for years. Stamps and stencils everywhere, glitter in my underwear. Accidentally used a bill as a page. Now I'm crafting in a rage. I wanna freak my freak right now. Junk journal madness, holy cow. Tearing paper, making mess. Create chaos, I confess. I wanna freak my freak.
This is another card. Here is probably a sentiment missing, or even a little butterfly flower or whatever, but this is, I would say, a great thing already. This is so fascinating. This is completely dry now, and this effect here with these colors is even more intense now. That is absolutely cool. The crackles of the translucent paste are not so visible yet. Here in these open spaces there we can see some of the crackling because we have the medium here underneath, and that makes it somehow visible, but we can't really see these flowers yet. Here, this area I find really interesting as well. This nearly looks like broken glass there. Here, this turned out absolutely amazing. I find this really, really matching with the background. And what I like here is that the crackles are so extreme that this light background comes through here, and we can already see the crackles pretty well because of the things underneath. And this, again, it looks like broken glass, and that is so cool. What I want to try is, I want to take Picket Fence Distress Crayon, and I want to try to bring out the crackles on this paste even more by bringing the crayon into these crackles. And then it looks like this. Shall we try the same thing here, even if we then perhaps lose the intensity of this? But I want to see if I can bring out this pattern. I mean, it looks cool, but I can't really see these flowers like I can see them here. But obviously, when the paste is not stained, how shall that be possible? this will probably always stay this abstract, but I mean, what if we take, so what I'm going to try is I will apply the lighter crayon here in this bottom portion of the thing. Then I will choose a darker crayon. I've decided for ground espresso. Oh, this is new. Oh my goodness, I need to go to the gym. Do you also have that problem when the crayons are new? Then when you want to turn this around the first time, it's always so hard. But perhaps it's only me. So this way we can try to make the crackles darker, and perhaps we can then see the pattern of the stencil better. Yeah. Somehow I have the feeling that it comes out a little more. I mean, yeah, let's face it, this stencil with these flowers is already pretty abstract somehow, isn't it? If this was a stencil with, for example, circles or so, or something really, yeah, not so abstract like these flowers, then it would probably be easier to make it visible. I mean, if we look at this whole thing now and from far away, we can see that there is something over the other pattern. And I also really like this this Übergang here. How's that called in English? It's like a bridge somehow. First I thought I want to cut this and use this piece on one card and this piece on another card, but when I see it now, I really like this contrast. So why don't we add more of the white here to make it lighter here. Also on the opaque paste, and go a little bit into the translucent paste to get the crackles visible there as well, in a way that they look like here, so that we have this dark area there. And let's then take the dark crayon to balance this here a little bit. We could even take this and make two out of this one piece.
Tearing paper, making mess, create chaos, I confess. I wanna freak my freak right now. Junk journal madness, holy cow. Icky fingers, ephemera's dance, pages filled with happenstance. Gesso on my favorite jeans, embracing imperfection by any means. You get what you get and you don't throw a fit. Is this just the ugly stage or am I happy with it? I wanna freak my freak right now. Junk journal madness, holy cow. Tearing paper, making mess, create chaos, I confess. I wanna freak my freak right now. Junk journal madness, holy cow. Inky fingers, ephemera's dance, pages filled with happenstance. Dear diary, today I accidentally glued my journal shut. Mistook my coffee for paint, water sneezed while using glitter. Now I'm a disco ball and realize I've been spelling ephemera wrong for years.
And then a sentiment, yeah, perhaps even here a little word would make sense. I mean, imagine the word love or hello or so here, even without anything around here, or with a backing which is lighter, but then only like this. That would also be nice, I think. So I guess the series ends with the conclusion that you can make thousands of cards with one and the same technique. And as I said during the video, I have already even more ideas what we could do with this technique. And that's so cool because, I mean, sometimes you have this, that the people say, yeah, I know this technique already, that is boring to see it again, blah, blah, blah. But if you look closer to techniques, then you hopefully see that the possibilities are endless. And what I also want to say is, if you, for example, see a technique somewhere and you buy a medium only because of that technique, or a stencil only because of that technique, think about this aspect of this series and of my little conclusion regarding the mediums and the tools you buy as well. Because I often have the problem, or it's not really a problem, because, you know, we are creative people, yeah, we can think further. But often I have this feeling that there are people who think they can't do what I do in my videos and they can't follow my videos because they don't have exactly the same things like I have. Or they don't have exactly the same things like I do not have, Louise. When will you learn that? I'm sorry. And this is, I think, one, yeah, I don't know if you find this a good example, but I find this a really good example because with a few things you can make a ton of cards. You can even say, okay, I don't only have cards, but also ephemera for my journals. This could be turned into a bookmark, a pocket, a belly band, even a belly band in this direction. This could be like a little strip of washi tape for washi tape or so, double-sided tape here, stick it down, ready to go. These match each other, so you have already a whole collection of ephemera for your next journal, or pieces for making more cards with this one thing. And yes, I have used a lot of different mediums here, but please, if you're one of those people who think, oh no, I can't do that, what she has shown in the video, because I don't have the things, don't have exactly those things, use what you have. Yeah, look at the techniques and then look at your mediums. You don't, I don't want you to run into the next craft store and buy things. Yeah, so if you think I can't afford that or I don't want to do that, don't do that. Look what you have and use what you have. And yes, I have a ton of different mediums, but why is that? Because this is my job. Yeah, and I talked about this thing with some people, you know, friends, also YouTube colleagues and so on, and we all agreed that sometimes can be a little bit overwhelming and confusing and perhaps also disappointing when you see something and you think, oh, I can't do that, I need to buy this first, I don't have black texture paste, I need to buy black texture paste. Don't do that if you can't do it, yeah, and don't be disappointed when you can't do that, but use the mediums you have instead. And I can promise what will then happen is that you find things which I would never find, because I can use these things I have here and I bought these things for my business. Yeah, I mean, if I would do this for like a hobby or so, then I would definitely or probably not have as many things as I have now when I do this as, you know, my business, Louise Heinzel. And that's definitely a difference, I would say. But I mean, for the thinking and for the feeling some people could have behind that. But if you use the things you have at home and you are limited to different things or to less things than I have, you could possibly find out even cooler techniques and get cooler results than I have here. I'm convinced that is a fact. this is terrible together, but this is also something we made today. And I still have the other things on the side to dry. So here we go. I want to ink this here as well, even if it's not visible on the black paper, but on the rest we can see this pretty well. Okay, so that's it. This is what we have. This is absolutely amazing, and I'm really hoping that you can find some joy with this idea as well. Perhaps you want to see some more creative ideas, then stay tuned. Even that is a combination of if you and haven't. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, then perhaps you want to think about that and consider that so that you get notified when I upload my upcoming videos. See you the next time and have a very creative day. Bye bye.